I'm Molly Cooper, and this is a Snapshot episode where we bring you inside scoops from the travel, design, and creative spheres. It's the same Curator Spaces content, now in coffee break conversations. Today's Snapshot is all about the power of food and the brilliant Mazi Project, which is using the dinner table to empower young people in Bristol. I'm so happy to welcome Melanie to the podcast, who launched the project in response to the free school meal scandal in January 2021. And I can't wait to hear all about how it's grown since then. Melanie, welcome to Creative Spaces. How are you doing today?
I'm good. I'm really good. How are you, Molly?
I'm good. I'm ready for the weekend. I don't know about you.
Oh my God, yeah, me too. Really excited. Got a chilled weekend to go do some nice, wholesome activities.
Love it. It's that time of the year, isn't it? It's time for
Yeah.
wholesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm so excited to talk about the Mazi Project with you. When I mentioned you were coming on, I've had so many people being like, I love that. They're doing such cool things in Bristol. So can't wait to hear all about it. But let's start with you and your background
Yeah.
and how you've ended up in Bristol and at the helm of the Mazi Project.
Yeah, I mean, how far do I go? I grew up in Athens, so I was born there, and then I moved to the UK, like just outside London when I was 13, and then I moved to Bristol for uni in 2014, and I got into documentary, and like I think I really found my path, realizing that I really wanted to tell stories, and like I had a real passion for social justice, and then I moved into TV, so I used to be a researcher. And yeah, then furlough happened, and then the free school meal scandal happened, and I was just really angry. And I think that's where Mazi has come from. It's just from like just pure anger, and I guess I've somehow channeled it, and it's somehow become a charity.
I love it. You got to channel that frustration, don't you? And for anyone
Yeah.
who maybe doesn't quite remember, could you talk through quickly what the free school food crisis was?
Yeah, for sure. So the free school meal scandal was in January 2021, when basically the government was sending out hampers to marginalised families. And these hampers were quoted at £25, but actually they were literally like maybe, there was literally half a carrot, half a pepper, just some white bread, white rice, like very kind of plain, very non-nutritious food. It was just obviously it was just really frustrating and disappointing, and I think it was a massive kind of indication of food poverty, and like the fact that there's no choice within food poverty. And I think that was what really like triggered me, I guess, to feel really frustrated, and to really understand that food poverty is a lot more than not having access to enough food or good food. It's actually not having the opportunity to choose what you eat, to have the opportunity to like eat a meal together on a table, on a dinner table, and like go out for food, and all of these things that have been such a big part of my life. Yeah,
And it's so everything you say, like food is a huge part of everyone's life, and there's real joy in
yeah,
it. Is up there in Maslow's needs. Is what makes us human, like sitting down, eating around a table together. And you're so right,
exactly.
not having that is just such a violation of someone's ability to like, live a full, proper life.
100%.
So talk me through then. So this pissed you off. You're angry. How did you decide to channel that into the Mazi Project, and what did it look like in those early days?
Yeah, so it was very much a middle of the night idea. Like literally, I sleep with a notebook next to me. So I woke up in the middle of the night, and I kind of was writing it out and writing the ideas out. And um, I originally started a fundraiser to buy food vouchers for families in need, and we quickly raised £1,000. But then I decided to refocus onto vulnerable 16 to 25-year-olds, because I was 24 at the time. I'd worked with that age group a lot before in university, and generally this vulnerable community is one that massively falls through the cracks. It's extremely ignored. They're very much left at their own devices, even though they've suffered, sexual abuse, physical abuse, neglect, mental and physical health issues, and really feeling extremely isolated and lonely. And I think at that very kind of life-defining age, if you don't have the correct support, if you don't have love, if you're not well nourished, you will go down like a path that will probably lead you to the perpetual circle of poverty. And and yeah, and I guess for me, growing up in Greece, and the way I show love to all of my friends is through food, and like I cook for them, and like I love food, and I really feel better when I eat something tasty, and I think food is actually, because everyone shares food, everyone will have food. And I think it's an easy way to start intervention, I guess, but like in the kind of a way that allows dignity, that allows control. So yeah, started Mazi. We started off with 15 young people as a pilot, and what we do is we deliver weekly recipe kits. So similar to like Mindful Chef, but we'll work more with small scale producers, local farmers around Bristol, but we still follow the same concept. We'll text them each week. They'll pick up to 3 recipes. We'll pre-weigh the ingredients, and then our volunteers will deliver them. So it's very much kind of around giving choice and control in what they eat, but also we're using really high value, highly nutritious products and ingredients. So that's why it's really exciting to be working with small scale farmers and getting muddy veg in. And we are funded so we can pay for our ingredients, so they're not donated. So they then cook it at home, which teaches them how to cook. And we have educational materials around why our menu is seasonal, around why the veg is muddy, which is really interesting to kind of hear that feedback from them. And, they really enjoyed it. And then we also run lots of cooking classes and events where they aim to kind of tackle the food disparity in the city by taking them to spaces that they feel are inaccessible. So taking them to like some really beautiful independent restaurants and working with the chefs there to do some cooking classes. It's very much actually like a journey that the young person goes through with Mazi, and with the aim that they'll come off our boxes, and they'll be feeling confident, or they'll be feeling well nourished. They'll be able to focus and look at kind of what they want to be doing, I guess, as opposed to just worrying about when they're going to eat next.
Yeah, and I loved what you said about to you giving food, sharing food, like that is an act of love.
Yeah,
And I think so often projects or like charity initiatives, they're kicked off with like the best intentions, but budgets get cut and
yeah,
it can become like, oh, trying to balance the books and get more donations. But actually this is such an like a lovely, you take food, you share it, you share the love, and like
yeah.
there's such dignity to that, like you say.
Definitely. I think it's just such a, I don't know, I find food to be like one of the most humbling, like equalizing things that
Mm.
we experience as humans. And, you know, I think food is something that can literally stop time for you. Like you'll be having a conversation and you'll have a bite of something, and when it's in your mouth and it tastes amazing, you're like, oh my fucking God, this is so good. And, you'll stop that conversation. And I think it takes you, very much brings you to the present. And same with like when you're sharing a meal and the connections you make over the dinner table. And we've had like lots of our young people kind of say that, either they've never seen like, courgettes and stuff, but some of them were escaped their abusive families, and they were trying to kind of build bridges, I guess, like with specifically this one girl with her mum, and she would go every Tuesday and they would cook some of the recipes from Mazi together, and then she'd go home afterwards and she'd just say it's one activity that we do every single week, which was so beautiful to like kind of think of it as as a connector for people and for vulnerable people within, their own kind of situations, and using it how they want to use it as opposed to, you know, um, I don't know, like with food bank boxes, I guess they're quite different, and you don't
Mm.
have much choice. You don't even know, like a lot of time, there's no recipe, so you might not know how to cook if you don't know how to cook. So yeah,
Yeah, and I think that's so special. Like you say, a lot of the people you're dealing with, I'm sure they had incredibly difficult upbringings and childhoods where
yeah,
sitting down with your family to enjoy a meal together just wasn't a thing, or they
yeah,
were living off food box handouts or school meals, or and having that time to connect with someone over cooking, learning to cook, which is such a,
mm,
again, a human thing to learn to cook from your parents and just
yeah,
not having that. So it's so special that you're now giving them that at this stage in their life and they can still use it as a connector. I think that's amazing.
yeah. It feels really nice, and the conversation that I have with the young people, because we do monthly supper clubs as well, and that's been a really nice thing actually, because number one, it's a nice it takes me out of the real stress of Mazi and like running and like funding and all of these operational aspects. And when you go to these spaces and you speak with the young people, you cook with them and you eat with them, and you kind of, especially we've had a few regulars now, notice, certain progress within them, or like often they'll come to one of our events and they'll be like, oh fuck, I really don't want to be here, or like have their headphones on and like really not want to get involved, and like slowly as the night progresses they will. And like there was this one girl who, she has come to quite a few of our supper clubs, and she would normally struggle to eat in front of people, so she just wouldn't eat, or she'd go and eat on her own. And then we were in this space that was quite small, and there wasn't really necessarily an opportunity to do that, but like she was with her girlfriend, and we were building a rapport, and we served her the food, and then she actually very slowly started eating it, and she ate the full plate of food in front of everyone, like at the table. And like I could see her battling, like the inner battle in her head, like I see the anxiety. And she was really looking at her girlfriend for comfort, and then she ate it, and I was like, I was trying to play it really cool. I was like, no, okay, that's nice. And then she came over to me, and I was just like, I'm really proud of you. And she was just like, thank you, like me too. And it was just such a beautiful moment. And another young girl that came to that same event, she said, I met her a couple of weeks after, and she was just like, that was a real highlight of my month for me. And like I was telling everyone about it. And like it's such I think, we forget how important it is to like have, or not how, like, well, yeah, how important it is to be with people sometimes, and like we might take it for granted. Um and for these young people, sometimes actually the one event a month is the thing for them, to do in the month. So yeah, it's really cool.
That word you mentioned earlier about food being quite humbling, I
Yeah.
think that really like spoke to me just then. And the
Mm,
fact that literally sitting down for a meal with a group of strangers, you might not even know them, and that can
yeah,
be the highlight of your month. I think that's incredibly humbling, and like just a real lesson to appreciate the small things, the
yeah,
people, the time you have together. And yeah, just I love that.
yeah. No, it's really nice. It's good.
And tell me about the people who keep the project going day to day, your volunteers.
Yeah.
What encourages them to give it their spare time to get
Mm.
involved in Mazzy?
So I'm kind of the only full time, and then we do have some like paid staff as well. And our volunteers on Tuesday are just amazing people. Like, I think we've managed to create a real community. And I think the actual packing days are fun. They're also quite like mindless jobs. Even though like maths gets really weird at some point every packing day, but like it's very much kind of, like bagging up, I don't know, 150 grams of like rice times 55.
Mm,
And a lot of the volunteers that come to us are coming because they've been signed off work due to mental health issues. They're in between jobs. Like they've kind of coming with their story.
mm,
And it's just, it's amazing. Like I still have moments where I'm just like, I just can't believe people are here for
yeah.
free, like giving their time. Like I think with Mazi over the past like 2.5 years, which I think like globally, politically have been so incredibly horrendous and so difficult to be able to see much hope. That's the one thing that I feel like we're lucky that every day I get shown like hope and kind of real passion for equality, which is nice. So yeah.
Oh, that's such a brilliant note to almost wrap things up with. But let's have a quick look ahead at what the next couple of years or more have in store for Mazzy.
Yeah, so basically, we're going to be releasing our new Pay It Forward meal kit scheme from January through to April. So when you buy one, you're also buying a recipe kit for a young person. And we're working with like some of Bristol's most amazing chefs. We're working with Yo Valley, Bristol City Football Club, Eats Everything, to kind of curate these boxes as like a limited edition, which is super exciting. And we're moving into our new space. And but I think like kind of the vision with Mazi, I guess, is to kind of decentralize the food system and use Mazi as a blueprint to show how you can create a circular food economy. Um, And that's kind of what I'm working towards, is getting our processes in place and starting to build like the blueprint and go national with like campaigns for food equality, and for, you know, the rights of disadvantaged young people.
Amazing. So enough to keep you busy there.
Yeah, just a tad.
Never a dull day, I'm
No,
sure.
no, definitely not.
Oh, well, it's such a special project. I love the work you're doing. I really wish you all the best for the future with it. Before we do go, we've got a little closing tradition of a quick fire round.
Yeah,
If
okay.
you're up for it,
Yeah,
cool.
let's do it.
Let's do it. Okay. What's your favourite cuisine?
I'm going to actually say Greek. I know that's probably a bit biased. Or Mexican, maybe Mexican. Let's go Mexican.
Okay, let's do Mexican. And then what's one Mexican food you cannot live without?
A really, really good salsa.
Delish.
Like super fresh, lots of like coriander, lime, you know, really nice tomatoes. Yeah.
Zesty. Love
Yeah.
it. Okay, what's one food from your childhood that you miss here in England?
Oh, I just love, in Greece we just have like spinach pie, and like it's just from the bakery and it's like literally a euro. But I just was obsessed with them. Like I love them so, so much.
Yeah.
And now I'm gluten intolerant, so I can't even have them, which is so sad.
Sorry. And are there any British foods or eating quirks that you just do not understand?
um I don't know. I can't think of anything right now. To be honest, anything involved with food, I pretty much am on board. So
Love it. Very diplomatic.
yeah.
And what are your top restaurant recommendations in Bristol?
Oh, Sunny Stores, definitely. The Lido is great. Pash is an amazing chef.
Mm-hmm.
Pony and Trap. And yeah, I'd say those are like the top ones, especially if you like if it's a treat, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah,
treat yourself. Love
yeah.
it. Are you more of a starter or dessert kind of girl?
Starter, definitely.
Oh, really? So
Yeah.
savoury.
Yeah,
Love
always.
it. And for your final meal on Earth, what
Yeah,
would you have?
yeah. People ask me this, and it's actually super bougie. It'd probably be like grilled squid with like Greek salad and a really nice glass of white wine.
Doesn't get better than that.
I know.
Preferably in a taverna by the sea in Greece.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. That's all I need. Just really good Greek salad, nicely grilled squid. I'm happy.
love it. Oh, well, thank you so much for coming on, Melanie. It's been such a pleasure chatting.
Thank you so much for having me.
I wish you all the best with Mazi. Thank you for listening to this Snapshot conversation. For more Curated Spaces content, head to our website, Instagram, or wherever you listen to your podcasts.